310-873-4422.
Hi, this is Ron Sedgy, inviting you to join me for The Tonight Show of Radio every Saturday night, 9 to 11 Pacific Standard Time on CRN Digital Talk Radio. Now in our 24th year and well over 19,000 guests, The Ron Sedgy Show live originates from our Universal Radio studios. Celebrities from TV, music, movies, literature, politics, and show business, at one time or another, they all come to The Ron Sedgy Show. So why don't you?
You can try fighting the law all you want, but the law is always going to win. From politicians and celebrities to sports figures and business leaders, they're fighting the law. Now, here to sort out the nation's top legal news stories is America's favorite legal analyst, Royal Oakes. This is the Royal Oakes Show.
And thank you, Mike Horn, and welcome to the Royal Oakes Show. And what a show we have planned. Talk about a news week. We've got our co-host, Ken Jeffries. How you doing, Ken? We've got a little more energy. You know, we want more.
He's shell-shocked.
Yeah.
No, it's just so much news happening.
Oh, yeah. It's incredible. Our millennial correspondent, Connor Oakes.
Yeah,
I'm telling you, the Kate Steinle verdict out of San Francisco. San Francisco values at work. We got Mike Flynn pleading guilty to a crime that could send him to prison for 6 months.
Brutal.
He's very cozy with Mr. Mueller. And, of course, we got the tax reform vote. We also have Tomas at the board.
Yes.
Tomas,
Big
welcome to the show. Tomas, as it turns out, used to work in radio with Ken back in the 40s. It's really cool that you...
In fact, before Marconi.
Yeah, something like that. It's great that you guys are back together. Speaking of energy, you know, people have written in wanting to know about Ken Jeffries' wonderful, colorful past in terms of your work as a disc jockey, but they've said, Ken, they want you to sound a little bit more like a disc jockey. So, well, here's the deal. Tomas actually has it carted up. We're going to hear from Ted.
Up, that's an old expression.
It is, but we're going to use it. We're going to hear from Ted Williams. Now, this is how people want you to sound, Ken. Tomas, could you run this, please?
When you're listening to nothing but the best of oldies, you're listening to Magic 98.9.
That was very cool. Could we have it? Could we have it one more time? This is Ted Williams.
When you're listening to nothing but the best of oldies, you're listening to Magic 98.9.
Okay, now this is the homeless guy. He had a sign saying, I have a God-given gift of a wonderful voice for $1. I'll do that. And a TV reporter saw him. So, Ken, if you can just sound a little bit more like Ted Williams, I think.
I can also be homeless.
That's absolutely right. So, guys, I want to congratulate you all. This is actually quite a milestone. This is our 20th Royal Oakes show. So congratulations.
Oh
25 years is silver. What would 20 weeks be? Would that be like plastic or
paper or plastic?
Yeah.
That's my old job. Paper or plastic.
Something like that. Big week also in show business. We lost an icon. Jim Nabors gone. Gomer Pyle. And, guys, I was thinking we have an opportunity to interview anyone on the planet we want to on this show. And guess what? Ain't going to be any more interviews of Jim Nabors.
We've squandered our chance.
We squandered it. We've let him slip through our fingers.
Yeah.
I was a huge fan of the Gomer Pyle show. He was okay, as Gomer on Andy, but the Gomer Pyle show, USMC, was terrific. But so what I'd like us to do before next week is put our thinking caps on and figure out who we would like to interview before they,
pass out of the public spotlight, you could say.
Out of the public spotlight, exactly right.
I want Trump, dibs Trump.
I'm thinking Betty White.
Ooh, there we are.
Ken,
But she's still in the spot. I know a lot
She
of
is, absolutely.
Yeah, that's the point. Yeah, Ken, you know everybody in show business from
Literally
your years on the radio and reporting KFWB, now KBC. Could you call up Betty and find out if she might be willing to have a little chat with us?
I did a couple of telephones with her on that, but...
Let's get all the Golden Girls.
So then you're like Buzz.
They're all dead.
Well, the Golden Girls are fine. I have discovered the Gilmore Girls.
Oh, God.
Oh, my gosh.
New obsession.
I'm 2 seasons into it. Huge.
Okay,
when we come back, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to talk about the very controversial Kate Steinle verdict in San Francisco.
We'll be back on CRN with the Royal Oak Show. Come to Angelo's and Vinci's to see the memorabilia of movie stars and theatrical magic right in downtown Fullerton, California. See the art of the masters. An Italian town square complete with storefronts of old Italian butchers and cheesemongers, fruit and wine vendors, seamstresses showing their wares, fairy lights from cathedral ceilings, and our ancestors smiling down at you from the family love altar. The romance of Romeo and Juliet, and find the mystical Room of the Moon. And don't forget King Kong, Dracula, Frankenstein, and who knows what awaits you in the wine cellar. Enjoy the great food. We hand stuff our pastas, roll each and every tortellini, bake our own bread, make our own sauces fresh from our private stock of Sicilian family recipes. From pasta to seafood, chicken to award-winning pizzas, tiramisu flown in from Rome. If you can't find something on our menu to tempt you, you don't like Italian food. Try our Sunday brunch, just $18.95, and Angelo's and Vinci's has been named 2 years in a row Best Italian Restaurant in Orange County. Angelo's and Vinci's Restaurant at 550 North Harbor Boulevard in Fullerton, California. Call 714-879-4022.
오빤 강남스타일 강남스타일 오빤 강남스타일.
Welcome back to the Royal Oak Show. And, of course, you dedicated listeners know we like to have our co-host and millennial correspondent, Ken Jeffries and Connor Oakes, guess the bumper music. I don't think either one of them is going to get this one.
This one's
it's just
unfair.
too esoteric.
It's just brutal.
It wasn't on anybody's radar screen.
Yeah.
It's not like 987 million people around the planet have
Watched the
downloaded
video.
this
Yeah.
one. Would you guys like to take a wild guess?
I think I could take a wild guess, given that the only thing he says over and over is the title of the song. That the only thing I understand, at least, which is Gangnam Style.
Okay, that's the title. What about the artist? Does anybody know the name?
Yeah, Psy.
You got it.
Oh, okay, you guys are one
Which
for
reminds
one
us,
then.
an old Jack Benny joke, but with Mel Blanc, you know, so what's your name? Psy.
Yes.
What are you going to do? I'm going to sue.
Mel Blanc, voice of Bugs Bunny and
Bugs Bunny and
100
Daffy,
other
whatever it
characters.
is.
Amazing talent. Okay, so in a week of big stories, this might be the biggest. Kate Steinle, a young woman strolling along the Embarcadero by the water in San Francisco, July 15, 2015. A bullet out of nowhere kills her. She dies in her father's arms. And this guy, Zarate Garcia, illegal immigrant, apparently had picked up the gun. It was stolen out of a park ranger's car. And facts are confusing as to exactly what happened. But nobody claims he pointed it at her and shot. Apparently it ricocheted off the ground. And the jury in San Francisco says not guilty, murder 1, murder 2, manslaughter, and also assault with a weapon. Oh, yeah, he was a felon and he couldn't have a gun legally. He did have a gun, therefore we're going to find him guilty of that. Mm-hmm. So, guys, what do you think? San Francisco values at work here?
I think that the facts in this case were so muddy and there was so much conjecture occurring. And the one fact that people seemed to agree on was that there was a ricochet and that this guy didn't at least intend, he didn't know Kate Steinle, he didn't intend to cause terror, strike terror in the hearts of Americans. He just may have been the one holding the gun that pulled the actual trigger, touched the gun, and caused it to go off one way or another. And they said, this guy's going to spend 16 months to 3 years behind bars for felony possession. That's enough. We just can't say any more than that. Give him his presumption of innocence.
And there was evidence that this weapon did have kind of a hair trigger. Ken Jeffries, you've reported on so many big cases. It's frustrating.
Well,
to me.
with you, yeah.
And the jury won't talk. I mean, maybe they have over the last 12 hours.
No, they
I
haven't
didn't see
said
it on the
anything
internet.
as far as we
That's
know.
kind of frustrating because I'd like to be able to find out from them, okay, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your service. What was going on? Why wouldn't you find him guilty of one of these four
Well,
things?
you said to me when we used it on the air on KABC that he didn't know her. He didn't know Steinle. He didn't, that it was, they bought the claim, obviously, that it was an accident. And there were a lot of these so-called, I guess, mitigating factors that he sort of got, for lack of a better term, got off on a lot of these charges. The other one thing I heard, though, is whether or not the DA in San Francisco over-prosecute.
Right.
Did they?
I think it was a tactical mistake. What happened is that the formal charge was murder in the second degree, which is you didn't intend to kill, but you knew it was a real distinct possibility. But what the judge said is, well, Mr. Prosecutor, you can ask him for guilty on murder 1, he intended to kill, or manslaughter, no intent, just a horrible, reckless, negligent accident. And I think the strategy call by the prosecution is they said, well, he was playing a game of Russian roulette, and he was scanning the crowd and looking to see who he might shoot. And I don't think the evidence was there. I think what they should have said is, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, the manslaughter charge is a no-brainer. I mean, this was reckless. Mm-hmm. This guy picked up a gun, it fired, whether it ricocheted or not, this lady's dead. So that's easy. Now, we'd like you to entertain the possibility of murder 2. He knew it was possible, or even murder 1, and here's why. But instead, they worked their way backwards from the unlikely, kind of ridiculous charge, and maybe the jury reacted against that.
Yeah, absolutely. I think over-prosecuting, I know over-prosecuting is a common problem with prosecutors who start to see stars and see that juicy murder 1 that they really want to get, and they paint an unrealistic picture that the jury becomes unsympathetic to. You've got to paint yourself as the good guy, as the prosecutor. You've got to paint yourself as the defender of the public. And if you start throwing around theories that feel more like conjecture, you start to look like the villain in your movie, and that's not really where you want to be.
I think you also said to me, Royal, on the air on KBC, was that the jury was not allowed to hear the fact that the guy was a 5 times deportee.
Right. That's true.
And I don't know if it played really into that or not, but they weren't allowed to hear it.
You got to believe that they didn't crawl out of a hole, and so they kind of knew, because jurors love to cheat. But let's talk about the elephant in the room, because yesterday when the reaction was pouring in, all the conservative folks were saying is, don't talk to me about whether it was an accident or sort of an accident. The fact is, he never would have been by the Embarcadero if San Francisco authorities, when the phone call came in from ICE, from the federal immigration people, and they said, we want to deport this guy, if San Francisco hadn't said, no, we're a sanctuary city, we're fussing over his marijuana charge, we've decided to drop the marijuana charge, and we're going to release him. And they did. And so that's really the issue.
Now, was that the marijuana? There was a marijuana charge involved in it?
That's why San Francisco had him. Feds had him. He was sent to San Francisco jail because of the marijuana. They decided, we're not going to prosecute on that. Big shock. But when the call came in, they refused to hand him over. And a lot of people are still defending the decision, the sanctuary city-based decision. I wonder if this verdict is going to trigger a backlash. Senator Ted Cruz was on the TV yesterday saying, I'm reintroducing Kate's Law, which basically says if you are like a 2-time loser on deportation, 5 years minimum if you're caught again. Maybe that'll be popular now.
Can they go after this suspect again on other issues? Are they going to try him on a civil rights thing, or can they do that, or they on some other charge?
There's talk about that. I don't think that's going to go anywhere, because to prove a civil rights violation, they would have to prove that he did this out of racial animus. Yeah. And it was a freaking Ricochet. No. Yeah. So I don't think that's going to go anywhere. But his gun conviction, he was on probation in Texas for one of his 7 felonies. And the fact that he has the gun conviction, that means not only does he spend a couple of years in the pokey because he had a gun, but also he violated the probation in Texas. And I think Trump's Department of Justice is going to do everything they can to try to keep him behind bars. I wouldn't be surprised if some people say, well, now, is that fair to single him out because Trump wants to slam him?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if you want to talk about Trump singling people out and slamming them, he was singling this guy out and slamming him on Twitter before the verdict. Right. I mean, it looks just like the Central Park Five. He during his time as a sort of semi-political, just random rich playboy figure in New York who wanted to gain the public's favor, he gets on and says these terrible things about the Central Park Five, the people accused of terrible crimes in New York. It turns out completely exonerated by DNA evidence. And you know what? Trump has never really come out and said, oh, I was wrong on that. In fact, he said over and over, these are bad guys who did bad things. And a lot of people think that was racially motivated.
He'll double down on stuff.
And it's entirely likely that Trump will continue, especially to distract from what we'll probably talk about later in the hour, Trump's current issues. He'll be talking about these criminal issues because he wants to look tough on crime.
Well, that's true. My problem with the whole sanctuary city thing is I would like a policy motivated by what's best for America and how best to fight crime. Big business wants illegals in the nation because it helps their bottom line. Democrats who want votes from illegals and people who are partial to illegals want them in the nation because of the vote desire. I think both of those are really wrong motivations, but I think that's what's guiding us.
Well, then that means illegal aliens manage to vote. And how do they do that?
It's coming around the corner. They got driver's license. He's got welfare, hospital access.
That's an issue.
I think they're going to be voting very soon. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, stick around, because when we come back, we're going to be talking about the deal with Mr. Flynn and Mr. Mueller. Stay with us.
We'll be back on CRN with the Royal Oak Show.
The legends of Ka'anapali Luau at the Ka'anapali Beach Hotel will take your breath away with an abundant feast, spellbinding dances, and music from Lei Pono Productions. Be greeted with a lei and browse to see island crafts made by local artisans. As you hear the pu or conch shell blow, your luau experience will begin. The featured entree is a whole roasted pig and a bountiful menu of some of Hawaii's favorite food choices. Oh, you can't forget our famous made in-house taro poi. As your night comes to an end under the spell of the moon, be amazed by the famous firewalk. By the end of the night, you'll be full, and we hope you'll have made new friends and some forever memories while you continue to listen to music from Maui's local Hawaiian musicians every Monday night at Hawaii's most Hawaiian hotel. Ka'anapali Beach Hotel, voted Best Aloha Spirit by Hawaii Magazine readers. Call 667-0128 or visit legendsofka'anapali.com for your exciting island adventure.
The smartest way for you to get the lowest prices on your plane tickets, domestic or international, is to call SmartFares first or last, but you've got to call us before you book your plane tickets. Fly anywhere in the world, fly anywhere in the U.S., and SmartFares can save you up to 75% on your plane tickets. We have the lowest airline ticket prices on over 500 airlines, and you've got a great 12-hour free cancellation window. Plus, with our live agent help, you can always get fast help and fast answers. So on your next trip, maybe today, maybe tomorrow, how about right now? Pick up your phone and call SmartFares, plus save up to 75% on your plane reservation. So call right now. 800-915-2644, 800-915-2644, 800-915-2644, 800-915-2644.
CRN listeners, when you come to Southern California, stop by a great restaurant, the Dresden Restaurant at 1760 North Vermont Avenue in Hollywood. Enjoy great entertainment, like the music of the legendary Marty and Elaine at the world-famous Dresden Restaurant. The Dresden was a location for the making of the movie Swingers. Now you can swing with stars Marty and Elaine. Plus, enjoy great food, too, like French onion soup, artichoke hearts, and many other great appetizers. Seafood, there's salmon, shrimp scampi, New Zealand orange roughy, halibut, Lake Superior whitefish, and specialties like veal, marsala, piccata, and parmigiana. Plus, we've got a great roast rack of lamb, chicken piccata, and cordon bleu, and pasta dishes, too. Steaks, filet, New York, Chateaubriand for two. Much more, too, including pork chops, prime rib of beef, and an incredibly extra large cut of prime rib. It's the Dresden Restaurant, open for lunch Monday through Saturday and dinner Monday through Sunday. Check us out at 1760 North Vermont Avenue or call 323-665-4294.
It'll be over my dead body, so get out while you can. 'Cause you ain't woman enough to take my man.
Welcome back to the Royal Oak Show, and ladies
Another
and
holiday
gentlemen,
tune, isn't it?
yeah, we like to shake it up. We've got
Dead
Gangnam
Body.
Style with Psy, and now we're moving a few decades back.
This isn't a Merry Christmas
even-
thing, is it, or something?
Even before our millennial correspondent Connor Oakes was born,
Right,
Ken
right.
Jeffries or Connor, any guess as to who this might be?
I got
Hey,
nothing.
pump it up a little bit, Tomas. Let's hear her.
Took a second look at you, but he's in love.
I think
with
Ken,
me.
Dolly
Ken
Parton.
has an idea. No,
Well,
good
no,
guess, but it wasn't Dolly.
Not Dolly Parton?
No.
She would do something like that.
Yeah.
Tammy Wynette?
9 to 5, sort of.
Not even Tammy Wynette?
No, this is Loretta Lynn.
Loretta
You know
Lynn.
the name of the
Even
song?
I know that name. Oh, yeah.
You ain't woman enough to take my man.
These country songs, they really don't. They don't hide the ball with the title. They just go and
well, that's okay. You guys are batting 500, which is better than Ted Williams ever batted.
That's true.
406 was his top. All right, so we are in the C block, and that means
C block.
the General Flynn. Yeah.
For those of you in
Cell
radio,
block,
so
cell
the
block,
C block.
Cell block Flynn. That's
Cell block
where he
Flynn.
wants to stay out of.
Exactly.
So here's the
I love it.
background. So Flynn is a big deal in the Obama administration a few years back, but he's so antagonistic toward the extremist Islamists that they fire him. Well, Trump kind of likes his attitude, so he brings him onto the campaign, and he's got this portfolio, and he's talking to Russians at some point. Now, late in the year last year, the Obama administration said to Putin, okay, no more Mr. Nice Guy. You screwed with our election. We are sending 35 of your employees/spies home. And Putin didn't like that. These were sanctions he was unhappy about. So in the interim between the election of Trump and the inauguration, there was conversation between the Trump people and the Putin people about, oh, don't freak out, Putin. Everything will probably be fine. Give us a few weeks when we're in. And allegedly, Flynn had conversations with Russians about the sanctions issue, about sending your people home. And then apparently he lied when he talked to Vice President Pence-to-be and said, oh, no, I didn't talk to the Russians about that. And he lied to the FBI about that, and that's what Mueller got him on. So the question is, you think that the Republicans are going to be able to say, well, we fired him from the same thing. There's no evidence of collusion during the election pre-November, so we're home free?
They had a really good argument on that front until about 12 hours ago.
Oh, what happened?
They had a super good argument that Trump gets to sit back and say, look, I heard that he lied to Vice President Pence, and thus I'm kicking him out. I fired him. Instead, Trump goes out and tweets that he knew that Flynn had not just lied to Mike Pence about this, but that Flynn had lied to the FBI about this.
So the president was aware of Flynn lying to the FBI.
And then, subsequent to that, brings Comey in for his cozy one-on-one and says to Comey, you know what? Flynn's a good guy. Don't go forward with this investigation. I'm going to obstruct this process of justice by preventing you from continuing.
Wow. So this
Trump just shot himself in the foot.
This is breaking news. Ken Jeffries is going to be reporting this on KBC. I wonder, though, Ken, do you think that if this is true, if this develops, and if Mueller doesn't get anything more direct in terms of collusion, conspiracy in June, July, August, okay, Putin helped with the hacking, do you think that would be enough for Mueller to go forward and say, I hate to say this, but the president obstructed justice, so, we're going to have to go after him?
I have a feeling, and I'm not a lawyer, you guys are, and I don't play one on TV.
That's why we ask you these questions, because we don't know the answer.
The legal question to this. My gut says that they don't have enough. Yeah. However, we don't know what went on behind closed doors with Flynn and Mueller, so maybe there's more to it we don't know.
Plus, when you think about it, what did we get Clinton on? What did we impeach Clinton on? Perjury.
Right.
We didn't get Clinton on some underlying massive entanglement scandal. We just got him for this procedural thing of lying on the stand about whether he had an affair with this woman.
What does is mean? Or
that's
what
a lot
is
less. Yeah. That's a lot less than any obstruction of justice charge.
The other interesting thing to me is on the question of whether there's really going to be a smoking gun as to Donald Trump or somebody extremely close to him, but I guess it would have to be as to him, in terms of actually colluding with the Russians. Here you have Mueller, who said to Flynn, lucky you don't have to go to prison for 10, 20, or 30 years on all the many charges I could have brought. Instead, it's going to be 6 months max. That's part of the deal. Would Mueller have done that if he didn't think Flynn had some stuff that would really nail Trump in the middle of 2016?
Absolutely. There's no way he would let Flynn off that easy. He doesn't just need a smoking gun. He needs the smoking elephant gun. It's got to be a smoking rocket launcher here. 6 months for the guiltiest guy we've seen so far, Mike Flynn. No way he doesn't have Trump dead to rights in my mind.
That's a good guess. On the other hand, it is possible that Mueller is hoping that this guy who's now flipped and is cooperating has the keys to the kingdom but doesn't really know it. Hey, when we come back, we're going to talk about tax reform. Apparently, just this morning, the Senate approved the tax reform bill. We don't know if it's going to be finalized, though. Stay tuned on The Royal Oak Show.
We'll be back on CRN with The Royal Oak Show. Experience the nation's newest winemaking region. Taste San Diego County's best wines along historic Highway 94. Discover one of San Diego's most exciting wine-producing regions. Explore the rolling hills. Look at the beautiful vineyard vistas. Picnic in a rural area and enjoy incredible wines like Dulzura Vineyard and Winery. Located in Dulzura on the historic Clark Ranch, this winery and its estate vineyards are the continuation of 135 years of agricultural heritage. You'll taste dry Riesling, Chardonnay, Viognier, Malbec, Zinfandel, Cabernet Franc, Cabernet Sauvignon, even orange muscat dessert wine. Dulzura Vineyard and Winery. Open weekends 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. and weekdays by appointment. Call 619-468-3769. That's 619-468-3769 or go to dulzurawinery.com. That's DULZURA winery.com.
You order a glass of your favorite Cabernet, fresh asparagus, hollandaise on the side, a filet, medium rare. You unfurl your napkin with a flair, close your eyes, and prepare to listen. Ah, there it is. The sweet music you long to hear. The sizzle. The sizzle of a Ruth's Chris steak.
The most magnificent corn-fed prime beef, broiled to perfection at 1,800 degrees. Some call it a sizzle. We call it an anthem.
As the waiter approaches, you think, is this one mine or that one?
Ruth's Chris Steakhouse. Like Ruth always said, life's too short to eat anywhere else.
Make a reservation online at ruthschris.com or by calling 800-544-0808.
What are you going to do with your old car? You can try selling it, you could junk it, or you could donate it to Heritage for the Blind. Your car will be towed away for free, and your donation is tax deductible. Just call 1-800-785-9618. Heritage for the Blind accepts cars, vans, trucks, and boats. It doesn't matter if your vehicle runs or not. It will be towed away for free, and you'll be supporting those that need help. Heritage for the Blind is a nonprofit organization that helps the visually impaired live fuller lives. Call right now to donate your car, and as a special thank you for calling, you'll receive a free 3-day vacation voucher to many exciting locations. Call Heritage for the Blind right now, 1-800-785-9618. Donating is easy, and your vehicle is towed away for free. Plus, you'll get a free vacation voucher. Call now, 1-800-785-9618. That's 1-800-785-9618.
It has been said that everyone has a book in them. But do you have the time or the ability to write your book? Maybe you picked up some skills or had a life experience that you want to pass on in the form of a book to help others. Maybe you want to leave an autobiography for your family. Or maybe you've built a successful business and you want to share your story. At Dorrance Publishing Company, we have professional writers who can help turn your book idea into a finished manuscript quickly and affordably. A Dorrance ghostwriter can provide as much or as little help as you need to complete your book. You'll work directly with your ghostwriter to finish your book faster than you ever could on your own. It's easy to become a published author. Call Dorrance now to learn more. 800-485-8803. 800-485-8803. 800-485-8803. Call right now. That's 800-485-8803.
All I want for Christmas is you.
Well, Mariah Carey is...
You don't even have to.
You guys
I was
already
going to
knew
say
it.
Mariah Carey, so much for that.
You guys already
Killjoy.
knew it, so I'm giving you credit for that.
She is such a phenom. She's so incredible. That voice is out of this world.
She's pretty remarkable, and it's a Christmas classic. We're coming up on Christmas time. So welcome back to the Royal Oak Show. We got our co-host Ken Jeffries.
You know, they didn't have her on the Christmas tree lighting show, did they, on NBC? Remember she screwed up a couple of years ago?
Oh, that's true.
By the same token, they didn't have Matt Lauer on that show either. They had to edit him out real fast. We'll get to that, I know.
If we'd had Mariah Carey at Trump's Christmas tree lighting, maybe anybody would have shown up instead of the hundreds of empty chairs.
Exactly right. So tax reform is upon us. I guess the deal is the United States Senate decided we're going to work Saturday morning, and as I understand it, they passed it. And I think the only Democrat only Republican that is, who voted against it was a guy named Cordell. You may remember him as Lil Bob Cordell, the subject of a tweet by the president making fun of the fact that he's 5'6" or 5'7". And so he's the one guy that voted against this. I wonder if that
what could possibly have motivated
I'm
him.
thinking back a month when Senator John McCain stood up there, and he was the key vote on the Obamacare.
Thumbs down.
And he gave the thumbs down. Trump has this way of dealing with people. And before we get into the nuts and bolts of tax reform, I want to talk about the Pocahontas angle, because Trump blasts Elizabeth Warren. But interestingly, even Trevor Noah, host of The Daily Show now, not exactly a conservative, he came out actually on Trump's side. He's saying, for a long time she said she was American Indian. And he played numerous news clips where she claimed to have a Native American heritage, and that minority status helped her get a job at Harvard University, and then Harvard touted their diversity with her employment. She had recipe contributions to a 1984 Native American cookbook called Pow Wow Chow, and he called this problematic because there's no proof that she has any American Indian lineage. And he commented, that would be like finding out I'm completely white, I have no African blood, yet I wrote the book Snacks for Blacks. Noah quipped. That's what he does, is he makes quips. He says, Trump is racist, but Warren is wrong to say she's Native American when she wasn't, something she's never apologized for or owned up to. So,
shocker, no good guys in politics.
So he gets away with this stuff. Do you think that it's kind of a done deal, or once the conference committee starts, where the House folks and the Senate folks get together and say, okay, we've got two slightly different versions of the tax reform bill, we're going to hammer it out, do you think there's still a chance that one of the senators, who, let's face it, hates Donald Trump's guts, will at the end of the day say, I don't think so?
Yeah, whose turn is it to give the thumbs down? Is it going to be Ted Cruz? Is it going to be John McCain again?
Maybe it's McCain again.
McCain again.
McCain, I think, remember he brought up Obamacare. He said, we got to bring it up.
Right.
And then he voted thumbs down. You wonder if, no, it's not going to happen again, that he would vote to approve it this time and then vote it down when it goes back to the Senate
Here's
for
my theory.
approval.
Here's my theory. It's 11:59 on Christmas Eve. The Senate vote is about to happen. It's down to the last vote. They have to have McCain, and he stands up and he says, I like my presidents who don't fail their entire first year.
Thumbs down.
Brutal.
Do you think that's a possible setup for him to say thumbs down?
I just thought it was a cute line.
No, but I'll tell you, if anybody should have it in for Trump, it should be McCain.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because of what he said during the campaign.
Him? So, interesting juxtaposition of the two issues of Obamacare and tax reform, and I'm curious about your thoughts on this. We're trying to repeal and replace. They have these 65 ridiculous futile votes during the Obama era. What's the point? He would veto any repeal. Right. So now when they control the Congress completely, they spend the whole year, they have two giant votes, and they totally mess up. They can't do it. And now somebody comes up with the idea, well, tax reform, that's kind of cool, lower taxes for everybody. Let's stick in getting rid of the individual mandate. The part of Obamacare that says you got to buy. You're not taking the subsidies away. They're still giving the goodies away.
Right.
I wonder, is that not going to drag down the tax reform to the extent there's any chance of stopping it? Because, the Congressional Budget Office, again, came out and said, 13 million people would lose their insurance if we get rid of the mandate.
And it did contain it, right? I'm going to double-check with you guys that it did contain that was passed last night as we do this show.
That's the
or
problem.
This morning,
no one knows what's
contain
in it.
repealing the mandate.
Right.
And I'm thinking, what is that doing in the tax bill?
Yeah.
And that, I think, is a huge weak point, and I think it's a terrible strategic idea for Republicans. What they have been hammered on repeatedly is trying to slide anti-liberal policies into bills that get passed. They are seen as the bad guys who do that.
Well, here's the other.
This is a weak point where they can get nailed on this and maybe lose down the road as a result of having done this, when really, how much are you going to gain out of this? People are angry about health care. They don't want to lose their health care, and that is what gets people to pick up the phone and call their representatives.
So the Democratic Party has to make that point, and also they show there was a guy, I presume was a Democratic senator last night. He's saying, look at this bill. And they showed it to the cameras, I guess, on Twitter. It went viral on Twitter. All the stuff that was handwritten in on the side.
In the margins,
And he said, I can't read any of this stuff. But then again, it gets, sorry about this, but it gets into the point where, going back to Nancy Pelosi and Obamacare, you have to pass the thing in order to read it, essentially, to understand.
On the other hand, I got to say that the part about Obamacare that just seems so obnoxious is the idea that the federal government would say to you, hey, pal, you've got to buy insurance. And not only that, you got to buy our kind of insurance. And we're going to give you a little silver and platinum options, but basically it's our insurance at our prices with our features and so on. I mean, screw you. Where does the federal government get off micromanaging, especially when Obama sold it by lying 40 times over the course of 2 years? If you like your doctor, you can keep your doctor. If you like your policy, you can keep it. So to me, I like the idea of the government not saying to me and everybody else, you have to buy it. If people don't buy it and need help, we are compassionate, so we will provide health care, whether it's through Medicaid or subsidies
Medicare
or
for
whatever.
all.
Medicare for all. Well, Medicare for all is a different story because that would be single payer.
Yes, it would.
But the bottom line is, let's help people who need help, and let's not have the government force us to do what they want
Fine.
to do.
I can see that perspective.
Why do we have to buy car insurance in California?
Well, that's actually a very important point. A lot of liberals point at that, but I do understand the difference between you have to buy car insurance for coverage for collision damage you make against somebody else's car. You're not required to have car insurance to protect your own car. And people say, this is my car, this is my body.
Right.
That's different. And I get that perspective. I totally understand that.
Yeah, but that argument was raised throughout the whole Obamacare debate. It'll be interesting to see if the elimination of the mandate dooms Obamacare and it implodes. Does that mean everybody will veer toward single-payer Medicare for all?
Could be coming down the pike.
We go back the other direction. Hey, when we come back, we're going to talk about harassment. I'm just so broken up about Matt Lauer. What a wonderful talent he was for so many years. And to find out these things about him, stay with us on The Royal Oak Show.
We'll be back on CRN with The Royal Oak Show.
Hi, friends. This is Larry Minetti. Go to LarryMinetti.com to get my book, Aloha Magnum. You'll read all about the wonderful guest stars like Carol Burnett, Elvis Presley, Frank Sinatra, and many, many more. There is an episode guide and my favorite recipes that I really cook at home. I will include a free signed photo with every book. Get Aloha Magnum at LarryMinetti.com. Order now. Aloha.
When you really want Italian food, you've got to get to Columbo's. Columbo's Italian Steakhouse and Jazz Club, Colorado Boulevard, Eagle Rock. It's that little neighborhood place you wish was down the street from you. Seekers of luscious and appetizing gustatorial pursuits, indulge your fancies with steaks so absolutely yum-yum. Vegetarians have forsaken kale and Pilates and never look back. Fish specialties so fresh and delicious and chosen by King Neptune himself, and relish Columbo's Italian family specialties so delectable you'll be yelling out, bravo, bravo! And let's not forget Columbo's world-famous meatballs, and you've got to try their breakfast pizza. Oh, and jazz every night. Service that's friendly, not phoning, and at a price that'll keep you coming back. That's Columbo's, that little neighborhood place you wish was down the street from you. Columbo's, Manja.
Hi everyone, this is Fred Dreyer with a big announcement. My new movie, Highway 395, has just been released. Don't miss this classic modern-day Western set along Highway 395 in California. It's an action thriller with some romance too. You can own Highway 395 today by going to my brand new website, FredDreyer.co. That's FredDreyer.co. Get my new movie, Highway 395, and check out my new website, FredDreyer.co.
Welcome back to the Royal Oak Show. Our co-host and Jeffrey's millennial correspondent, Connor Oakes. I bet you guys have a good chance to guess this one.
Zeppelin?
Zeppelin. Oh, this is
Stones?
definitely a millennial. Yes.
Stones, got
yes.
it.
You got the
Always
Stones,
confused
yeah.
with Stones.
Second
I'm sorry
guess,
with
though.
Zeppelin.
You know,
it's tough.
So you happen to remember the?
I think it's "Gimme Shelter."
It's
Gimme Shelter.
Gimme Shelter, one of the most iconic
Played
songs
some of that on the air, yeah.
in history. So harassment continues to be a huge issue, and yet it's only in our E-block, guys. It only made the E-block. We
What
have
a week.
blocks A through F. And so Matt Lauer is the latest. What kind of a creep was this guy? He gives his colleague a sex toy with an explicit note about how he'd like her to use it. He calls a female employee to his office, shows her his member, then reprimands her for not engaging in a sex act, and he would quiz female producers. Oh, who are you sleeping with now, sweetie? I mean, I guess this is going on for a long
time. He told Sandra
time.
Bullock on the air, he said, I've seen you naked, in one of her movies.
In one of her movies.
Yeah.
Well, there was a great line in one of her movies. I've forgotten the name, but Ryan Reynolds, she and he are co-workers.
Yeah, I remember that too.
And they end up in the same room with no clothes, and their line is, so naked, so naked. So, yeah, that's probably what he was referring to.
But
so there's a lot of nudity going on in politics.
This sort of
old
thing,
guy Conyers running around in his underwear. Does he really think that is exciting the interns? It's amazing. One of my favorite feuds though now is Jimmy Kimmel and Roy Moore down in Alabama.
Have
you heard about this?
It's so good.
So Kimmel apparently sends a comedian on his staff down to kind of heckle Roy Moore at one of his rallies, and Moore tweets and he says, you send your men to mock our Christian values. I think you ought to come down here and discuss it with me man to man. And so Kimmel tweets back, well, Roy, if you ever get any Christian values, I'll be happy to come down.
Great idea.
But he
Roy.
said he would leave his kids at home.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, Roy. Let's pick a fight with a professional comedian in the most public forum in the world at the moment, Twitter. That's going to go great. You know what? He has a writing staff, right? You're screwed.
So one question I have is, with all of this business about Louis C.K. and Matt Lauer and everybody, does it kind of help Roy Moore because it diverts attention? Apparently, he's crept ahead in the polls.
Yeah.
He's probably going to win the Senate
Well,
race.
now he's going against them Hollywood elites,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, there is a large.
We can have a duel over who has the best Alabama accent.
No, yours are. Yours is better.
I think Ted Williams probably could.
I'm just hoping that these Alabama radio guys aren't listening to our show because they've got the accent, they're rocking it, and you know what? They're sitting around saying to each other explicitly, I'd rather have a child molester than a Democrat. And that's the scariest thing I could possibly imagine, that somebody would be that
alleged Democrat. No, alleged child molester.
They probably are listening because I was checking the numbers, guys, and I know this is going to be good news for you. Our audience, potential audience, our audience potentially is 935 million people.
Wow.
Yeah.
The key word is potentially.
Is that people with internet access?
I didn't. Yeah, exactly. Internet access.
Internet access
around
on
the world.
planet.
Yeah. So the ratings
by the volume of mail we get. You know what? Let's just not make any estimations.
The mailman, the postal carrier, got to be correct.
Right. So Nancy Pelosi,
he had a hernia when he dropped off the mail last time.
Nancy Pelosi has gotten religion. At first, she was saying, "Well, Mr. Conyers has served the Congress so well for so long," and now she's saying he's out of here. She says he should be. I think she was getting a lot of blowback
rightfully so.
Yeah, because people were saying it's not consistent. You're defending
completely hypocritical.
Right. Now, of course, Al Franken is getting some pushback too there in Minnesota because at first it was Leanne Tweeden, the ABC News anchor. We know Leanne. Then there was another lady. And then there were two women who didn't give their names, and so people thought, well, it is piling up, but they're anonymous. Now apparently there's a fifth accuser against Franken.
Five, right?
And the fifth one has given a name.
Yeah.
I wonder if Franken is going to be able to survive.
Weather the storm, yeah.
Yeah, no, it's.
I don't know.
A lot of people think now. I wonder what your take on this. Has the pendulum swung too far? Because people are actually starting to worry about everybody believing everybody's accusations, and a lot of guys are going to be victims of this. I have to tell you, in the 90s, I handled a lot of sexual harassment, wrongful termination defense for employers, and I'm sure a lot of women were telling the truth, and they truly were victimized. I have to say, however, investigating these claims and defending these, I was convinced, based on very substantial evidence, that it's not uncommon for people to say, you know what, I hear I can get a year's salary if I make up some allegations or exaggerate some stuff. And so a certain percentage of women are making stuff up. How do you find out? You have to seek the truth. Some are victims, some are not. But with this tsunami, this attitude, maybe in favor of women, I wonder if we're going overboard.
There is a pendulum, and there are a lot of smart feminists out there saying we're worried about the pendulum swinging back in the same way that there was a pendulum swing against the women's liberation movement in the 70s, where people started to see them as extreme, as sort of militant feminism, as a bad factor in American politics or in American society. And that's a real problem, is whenever you make big strides very quickly, you're going to get backlash, reasonable or unreasonable. The other issue is that we have to worry a little less, I think, perhaps even a lot less about false accusations against major public figures, because making an accusation against a major public figure can ruin your life.
Yeah, no, you're
and
right.
so that makes it more likely that these women are telling the truth.
I have an
and by
idea.
default, therefore, should probably be believed.
I have an idea. We have Matt Lauer do Prairie Home Companion. We let Garrison Keillor host the Today Show, and that way they're in a new environment.
And they're punished.
And there are 6 months probation. I'd love to hear Matt do that.
How about we put them both at the bottom of a well?
Here's my idea. Megyn Kelly, we clone her, and we have her host every
Every
show
show.
on every
All right.
network.
Hey, Harvard lawyer, we
She's
need
not going to harass anybody, and
True.
her clones certainly aren't going to do it.
True.
Ladies and gentlemen, when we get back, we're going to have that very popular feature, Moron of the Month. We're going to nominate somebody for that pantheon of mediocrity here on the Royal Oak Show. Stay with us.
We'll be back on CRN with the Royal Oak Show. You're experiencing pain, back pain, shoulder, elbow, or hand pain, pain from a sports injury. If so, schedule a visit with Dr. Michael Sheps, the leading expert in laser therapy for pain management. Call 310-873-4422 or go to drsheps.com. Experience Epic T, the breakthrough laser therapy system that Dr. Sheps developed to make you pain-free in less time. Laser therapy is a non-invasive, safe, and effective in-office procedure that penetrates deep into your skin without damaging the tissue. It perfectly targets areas of pain to promote fast, natural healing. Relax your muscles, ease muscle spasms, joint stiffness, and arthritis pain while increasing blood circulation. For over 25 years, Dr. Sheps has helped Olympic athletes and sports enthusiasts alike get back in the game. Schedule your visit with Dr. Sheps at his Brentwood office in California. Call 310-873-4422 or visit drsheps.com. That's DRSHEPS.com. 310-873-4422.
When you really want Italian food, you've got to get to Columbo's. Columbo's Italian Steakhouse and Jazz Club, Colorado Boulevard, Eagle Rock. It's that little neighborhood place you wish was down the street from you. Seekers of luscious and appetizing gustatorial pursuits, indulge your fancies with steaks so absolutely yum-yum, vegetarians have forsaken kale and Pilates and never look back. Fish specialties so fresh and delicious and chosen by King Neptune himself, and relish Columbo's Italian family specialties so delectable you'll be yelling out, bravo, bravo! And let's not forget Columbo's world-famous meatballs, and you've got to try their breakfast pizza. Oh, and jazz every night. Service that's friendly, not fawning, and at a price that'll keep you coming back. That's Columbo's, that little neighborhood place you wish was down the street from you. Columbo's, Manja.
Experience the romantic getaway you deserve at Maui's premier bed and breakfast, the Plantation Inn. With plantation-style architecture and decor combined with modern amenities such as dual rain showers and whirlpool hot tubs, guests relax in a tranquil oasis in the heart of Maui's historic Lahaina town. The inn is situated conveniently less than 2 blocks from Lahaina Harbor, as well as the famous French Street, known for its range of shops, restaurants, gallery walks, and museums. The Plantation Inn is home to Gerard's Restaurant, voted Open Table's top most romantic restaurants in North America. Chef Gerard's contemporary island French cuisine consistently earns some of the highest ratings in Hawaii. Come discover why Hawaii Magazine readers named the Plantation Inn #1 best bed and breakfast in Hawaii. Visit theplantationinn.com or call us at 667-9225.
You can't always get what you want. You can't always get what you want.
Welcome back to the Royal Oak Show.
But if you try
Co-host Ken Jeffries, our millennial correspondent Connor Oakes. I bet they can guess this bumper music.
I just jumped the gun, right? This is the Stones.
This is the Stones.
Got it.
I
And
threw you a curve.
the Donald Trump
Doubled
campaign
down.
theme song, which was very strange. You can't always get what you want. And this is from a guy who promised everybody everything.
Yeah, that's right. There's a little irony. All irony. So we are in the esteemed F block of the show, heading for the barn. And Tomas, if you could please introduce our special feature.
Moron of the Month.
Okay, there you go. So
I love that
moron,
reverb.
Moron
Nice.
of the Month. We've had some great candidates. I want to toss one out for you. He's a 60-year-old electrician, Tom Colella from Australia. And so he's working away at his job, but not a lot, because he leaves work to play golf apparently twice a week over the last 2 years when he's not supposed to be doing that. So he blocked his whereabouts by storing his phone in an empty foil packet of Twisties, which is a puffy cheese-based snack that's popular in Australia. I'm getting hungry just hearing.
I'm getting cheese grease all over my phone.
Twisties. So his packet, the empty foil packet, was used to block electromagnetic fields, because otherwise the boss would be able to say, "Hey, where's Wilbur? Let me fire up the GPS machine," but all he could see on it was Twisties. So they found him out and they fired him. So that's this week's nomination of our 4 or 5 this month.
Honestly, terrible idea in terms of career advancement, and I wouldn't say a wise idea, but clever use of an impromptu Faraday cage to destroy the incoming signals. It's brilliant.
He got caught. I actually had a case a few years ago where I was representing an insurance company in a disability case, and the guy claimed he was disabled. He could barely move. He couldn't do anything. And actually, he was going to play golf multiple times a week, and he would show up at the club, and he would put his name down. He said, "Well, I'm Arnie Palmer," or "I'm Jack Nicklaus," and they would look at him, okay, they write it down. And so when we went to interview the manager of the golf club, he said, "Yeah, we noticed. We kept good records of when this guy was here because we thought it was a little weird." Yeah. And actually, this guy was caught up by his records as well in Australia. They had all sorts of records of him going to the golf club. Wow. So he's
That's a fascinating issue, actually, that was just in front of the Supreme Court last week, actually, about whether we have an expectation of privacy in terms of
tracking your cell
the
phone.
GPS information that we give to cell phone providers by allowing them to access the GPS devices on our phone. And I mean, that's something that the justices sort of wrestled with, and is difficult. But everyone knows you're sending these companies too much information, and oh man, they know everything about us. But do they expect that those people are required to keep it private? Do I think Times, Charter, or whatever ISP you use, or Verizon, are they on my side?
And we're going to get an answer out of the Supreme Court probably within a few weeks. All right, Tomas, our final feature, if you could introduce that, please.
Hot Tub Time Machine.
And if you can play, Tomas, the soundbite from the past, it could be thousands of years old, and see if the guys can guess what this is.
How exactly, hold up, before, how exactly could it be thousands of years old if it's a recording?
It would be scratchy.
Oh, okay.
It would be on the Edison cylinder.
Good to know. Good to know.
Oh,
okay.
we don't have our Hot Tub Time Machine feature this time.
Can we make one up?
Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to have it next week. That's not
Can
a
you
problem
give me a
at all.
pterodactyl noise from thousands and thousands or millions of years? I think it's a pterodactyl noise.
Pterodactyl.
I think we've guessed it.
The alternate selection for
I get a point for that?
For the more, yes, 2 points.
Nice.
Alternate selection for the Moron of the Month actually was going to be O.J. Simpson, because I don't know if you guys heard, but after they let him out and they say, look, you can't, get into trouble, drank to excess, he's been banned from the Cosmopolitan Hotel in Vegas for causing a ruckus, for breaking glasses, for getting drunk.
Really?
He may be back in prison before very long.
Another O.J. case.
Well, we covered a lot of ground, guys. Thank you, Ken Jeffries.
Going to Block
Thank you,
F
Connor
now,
Oates.
or whatever. Block
We are
Z.
in Block F. We're about to conclude
Z.
Block F.
Z. Block
exactly
Z.
right. Another Royal Oak show in the books. Thank you so much for listening, ladies and gentlemen. We'll see you next week. Have a great one.
Enjoying all your favorite CRN programming is easier than ever. It's right on your TV, through your local cable provider, and on the web at crntalk.com.